There have been so many times where my mentee asked, Sharonda, how did you even know to say that? How did you even know how to ask that? How did you even know how to phrase that? How do you relate to people? The way she came across you, the way she came at you, it couldn't have been me. You make it look so easy, he says. You see, the president of our company placed me and Steve Jobs in the same sentence. I've led a team where they've saved $17 million on one project. I'm given the jobs that other people aren't able to do. I work from vision and not from what I see. I put things on my manager's desk that he doesn't even know about, and I tell him it's handled. He has no problems out of me. I get along with everybody, and not only do I do that, but I train them up. But there was a time, because of my voice, my skin color, and my experiences, I thought it wasn't enough for me to speak. I thought that I'm only a woman. What can I say? I'm only a woman. Who's going to listen to me? I thought that if I gave my all to the company, and if I send this last email, and if I just keep quiet and keep my head down, I drove myself crazy. Because I thought that if I kept silent and I sat and did the things and just took notes, that they would say, hey, she's doing a good job, and I would move up the corporate ladder. But how many of you know you can't get it out of your mouth if it's not in your heart? And you can't get it out of your heart if it's not in your spirit. You see, while most people are asking, hey, how are you feeling? How are you doing? I want to know, just how are you speaking? Because my heart told on me. And since there was a time that I couldn't speak, there was a time where I was saying hurtful things. And while I'm not proud of it, I spoke from a place of hurt. And I fully embodied the sentiment that hurting people hurt people. You see, I didn't carry around baggage like society says you have baggage. I didn't have the children. I wasn't co-parenting. I didn't have any financial issues, but I gave all my hurt when I spoke. And for so long, my family experiences, they tripped in me. I saw the verbal abuse. I saw the domestic abuse, and I learned that behavior and that communication. It dripped in me. The way I heard people communicate to one another in my family, it dripped in me. The way that I went to church and I saw people getting hurt and I saw relationships hurt, it dripped in me. What I learned in the workplace, being passed over, being overlooked, it dripped in me. And for years, I stuffed and I stuffed and I suppressed, and it all dripped in me. And I went to this thing to try to make it right. I went to this thing, I did this thing, and I did this thing, and I did this thing. And the more that I gave, it didn't satisfy me. From people to clothes, material things, it all dripped in me. And everything that dripped in me, I had to sit back and I asked, what's influencing you? And because I saw all this external around me, all these experiences, I didn't realize I was looking everywhere, but not in me. I gave so much. I got in the habit that I gave so much to the people, the places, and things that weren't privileged enough to even know my value. I was so wrapped up in not being alone. I was so wrapped up in not being by myself that I continued to give, to pour, to serve, that I stopped contributing to me. I'd done so much professionally. I did so much personally for other people. I did so much serving in the nonprofit arena. And I was serving and giving to everyone but me. And so I have to ask you, how much of who you are is really who you are? I had to ask myself, how much of who I am is really who you are? You know, as we sit here and everybody says, I'm fine, I'm doing okay, I listen. And while I'm not proud of speaking from places of hurt, I saw that how the baggage that I had wasn't the baggage that was defined by society standards. It wasn't the baggage of children. It wasn't the baggage of co-parenting. It wasn't the baggage of needing money, but I gave it all up when I spoke. And my heart told on me. So I want to know, how are you speaking? What's influencing you? Because as the mountains of life came, I found myself choking, and I would try again to turn to this thing and I would turn to that thing, but I was still not being me. I thought that if I just gave and I gave and I poured out, you know, we have a tendency to just think if we give and not be ourselves, if we be someone else but ourselves, then things will happen for us. And so again, as the mountains of life came and they rose and they done the things to me that I didn't want to deal with, they presented certain things that I didn't want to go through. And I just found myself having to die to really who I was. And while it hurt so much dealing with the pain, while it hurt so much dealing with the things that I didn't want to go through, purpose was back there. Pain was back there. And while I fought not to go in that direction, it seems like the more it was pulling it to me, the more I didn't want to go forward, it kept pulling me. And so when I sat and I finally had to get to the place where I could listen to my heart, I got to the place where I could pray. I got to the place where I could meditate. I got to the place where I could say, hey, I know how I was raised. I know the good things that are put in me. I know the good things that are here for me, the things that are still in me. There's still life in me. I got strength to go and fight, the things that were holding me down, the things that I never said before I said it, the things that I never expressed before I expressed them, and the things that I never did before I started doing them, because I started to love me. So what are you allowing to penetrate you without your permission? Who's influencing you? Because I had to take account of the things that I was listening to, the things that I was pouring in me, the things that I was putting in me in order to be the greater and best version of me. And so she speaks. And because of the work that I've done on myself, because of the work that I've been able to do with others, I, Sharonda Severson, love helping women and a few courageous men become the best vocal expression of who they are. I'd love to connect with you. I'd love for you to learn how to speak from the soul. You can find me on Instagram at Sharonda Speaks, and you can visit me at andsoshespeaks.com, where I'd love to connect with you, hear your story, and just learn a little more about you. There's so much to you than what you know. There's so much more to you than when you realize. And I believe that, especially with women, if you have a woman that's grounded in her emotions, she's centered and she knows who she is, she's focused on a target, there is nothing that she won't fear because she is focused, she is centered, she knows what she can do, she knows she has the power. And that is how we change the world. I look forward to getting to know you. I look forward to going on the journey with you of seeing you become your best self. The world needs you. Remember, you have the power. You just have to remember you do, my dear.